59. The stacked card. Prelims start 8 Eastern on ESPN, ESPN Plus, and ESPN Deportes. The main card begins 10 Eastern on pay-per-view. To order in English and Spanish, go to espnplus.com/PPV. But wait, there's more. How about the NBA game of the night last night? And it was a good one between the Bucks and the Grizzlies. And it's Giannis on the road. We'll pick it up late in the fourth. Under 4 to play. Grizzlies up 1. Ja Morant working on Giannis and gets it to go. The Grizz up 3. 40 seconds to go. The Grizzlies lead is 2. It's Giannis. He's kicking it. It's Pat Connaughton. He's knocking it down. Bucks a 1-point lead. 12 seconds left. Bucks still up 1. Watch Morant. You just can't stop this guy. 35 for him. Grizz up 1 with 7 seconds left. Stay with the play. Drew Holiday to the baseline. 2 seconds left. Bang! He knocks it down. Holiday had 15. Morant now inbounding, trying to find a way to the win. Desmond Bane throws it up. Three-pointer is no good, and the Bucks hang on. Giannis 26, 11 rebounds, and 8 assists. Milwaukee wins at 112-111. As we continue next, back to McShay's McBoard, and it's not exactly a slam dunk. Wait till you hear just how risky it is to draft any quarterback in round 1. That's next on Get Up.
Lift every voice and sing.
In 1946, Marion Motley and Bill Willis were 2 of the first African Americans to play pro football. They went on to win 5 consecutive championships with the Browns. But it was their perseverance that helped convince Brooklyn Dodgers general manager Branch Rickey that Jackie Robinson could break baseball's color barrier the very next year.
We got baseball coming your way this afternoon, wrapping up our spring training schedule on ESPN. World Series champion Dodgers take on the Royals 3 Eastern. Clayton Kershaw on the mound. Dave Fleming and Jess Mendoza behind the mic. Looking forward to that. And with that, we welcome you back to our studio. I'm Mike Greenberg. This is Get Up on ESPN. We're with you live and commercial-free for the next 13 minutes, taking you to the top of the hour, and that is when First Take takes over. Is Ben Roethlisberger the worst quarterback in the AFC North? Should the Seahawks be actively shopping Russell Wilson? Stephen A. Max and Charlie will discuss that and more as they join us at the top of the hour. Again, we are with you commercial-free from now until then. And we're talking about quarterbacks because at the end of the day, that is, without question, the most important position in all of team sports. And every year at the NFL draft, a bunch of teams look to solve their problems at the position. Now, hitting on a quarterback early in the draft can, of course, lead to all kinds of success. But history shows drafting a quarterback is a very, very risky proposition. For every Patrick Mahomes, for every Deshaun Watson, there is a Josh Rosen and a Johnny Manziel. When they tell you drafting a quarterback in the first round is a 50-50 proposition, they are actually being generous. Fewer than half the quarterbacks drafted in round 1 wind up making a single Pro Bowl, not one. And here are some more incredible numbers. Only 40% of first-round quarterbacks wind up signing a second contract with the team that took them.
With the second pick, the Philadelphia Eagles select Carson Wentz.
When Carson Wentz said, "Bye, Eagles, bye," it ushered in this. Of the 22 quarterbacks drafted in round 1 between 2009 and 2016, not a single one of them remains on the team that drafted them. That's right, none.
With the 10th pick, the Kansas City Chiefs select Patrick Mahomes, the second.
There have been 37 quarterbacks drafted in the first round since 2009. That's 12 drafts. Mahomes is the only one among them to win a Super Bowl as a starter. Jared Goff and Cam Newton are the only others to even reach one. The highest graded quarterbacks of the last 10 years are Andrew Luck, Jameis Winston, RG3, and Blaine Gabbert. Luck has since retired. None of the other 3 were starters this season. So, if you think there is anything about this that is an exact science, think again. Being drafted in the first round doesn't guarantee you a thing. And that said, we know that there will be 5, or we overwhelmingly anticipate there will be 5 quarterbacks that go in the first round this year. And as we released Todd McShay's mock draft 3.0, he has 4 of them going with the first 4 picks, and then the 5th in Mac Jones going in the top 9. So it is that kind of year. And we have Todd McShay back with us here in this conversation with Louis and Mark Sanchez. And Todd, how would you describe why? You just heard all of those stats there, and you've heard them a million times. Why is it such a risky proposition taking any quarterback in the first round?
I've never missed Greeny. I have no idea what you're talking about. It's easy, right? Now, I mean, there's so many factors from the scheme they're playing in to where they ultimately wind up in the system that they're in and the supporting cast that they have. And so many of these guys get drafted early and are in situations with teams that don't have good talent around them. So it makes it really difficult. But I still love it. It's my favorite part of this job is evaluating quarterbacks. It's the first thing I do when the season's over is go study the tape on all these guys because I'm dying to try to get more information, and I've learned from all of my big mistakes.
So that said, you've got 5 of them going in the first 9 picks. Who would you define, Todd McShay, as the riskiest? Which, if we talk about risk, which one do you think comes with the most risk this year?
Yeah, I would say risk reward goes to Trey Lance, the North Dakota State quarterback who played in a pro-style system. He's big, he's physical. I think he has fast eyes and can process. I think he has all the tools. The problem is I just haven't seen enough of him. I've seen 17 starts, which is scary. You want to see somewhere in that 25 to 35 range. And with just 17, you just don't know what you're getting when you're buying that quarterback. So to me, he has all of the tools mentally and physically to be great, but you just haven't seen enough of them.
Sanchez, how about you? If you look at these guys, which one do you think has the most risk?
Yeah, I'd agree with Todd on that one. I think Trey Lance is that guy. He's got a little bit of a longer release, not the end of the world. That's something he could potentially work on. But really what I saw when I see him, I can't unsee Jalen Hurts. I see a lot of Jalen Hurts in him. I also see this inaccuracy, and I mean just slightly, right, where he slows down the receiver, he slows down their forward progress, and he limits yards after the catch. In coach speak, he's essentially leaving meat on the bone. There's big plays to be had that they don't capitalize on because he misses just slightly. So that's my only knock on him. And then the level of competition, number of games, number of starts. That was a knock on me coming out in the draft, only 16 starts. So those are all factors. That's why I think he's risky.
And I will remind everyone, just in case you don't know, not having played many games is not his fault. That was not because he's choosing that. His team didn't play the season this year, basically because of COVID. They scheduled 1 game, so that was the only one he had the chance to play. Louis, how about you? The quarterback in the first round this year that you think has the highest risk?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Justin Fields, and I know this is going to be one that's going to cause a lot of discussion, but my point being this, from a defensive player perspective, I could see what defensive coordinators saw about what is the key to really confusing Justin Fields, and that's this. Look, you have to sell out and make it hard for him to not be able to go where he is looking initially. Read number 1, read number 2. If you can get him to hold and second guess himself, that's where bad decisions, I thought, really came into play with him, and you saw it time and time again against Northwestern. So for me, if I'm drafting him, I want to know why those things happened. I want to know if it was a function of the offense, if it was a function of them not allowing him to be more creative on the football field in terms of having other options that he could go to, or did he not have the answers? I just want to know that. And if I could get those kind of questions answered, then look, physically, he's as gifted, if not more gifted, than every single other quarterback in this draft. But until I have those answers, I'd be a little bit leery at this point in time. And that's what makes it so cool. That's what makes this whole draft debate and quarterback debate so intriguing.
Teams basically have 8 weeks to make those decisions and those evaluations. Meanwhile, let's take a look again, if I can, at the 5 quarterbacks that he has going in this group. Again, Mac Jones is the 5th one, and you see the others who round out Todd McShay's top 10 in his current Mock Draft 3.0. So I like to do things a little differently on this show. I usually ask these guys all the questions, but I want to give some of my teammates here the opportunity to ask McShay some questions about his mock draft. So who's first up? Dan Graziano. What is your question? Here we go, McShay. Get ready. Fasten your seatbelt. Here's a question from Dan Graziano. Go.
Yeah, Todd, I just wonder, based on how weird everything's been, right? The opt-outs, the weird scheduling, no combine. For you as an evaluator, what's been the most difficult challenge as a result of this unprecedented, strange year?
Not being able to talk to scouts who have the medical and the one-on-one personal time that they have typically in a year. The only time that these scouts have had one-on-one, face-to-face time to really get to know a player was at the Senior Bowl, and that was between plexiglass. So it's been different. I've had so many different scouts and general managers call me with actual questions rather than just wanting to bat it back and forth, like asking me, what have you seen, because you've been on the field as an analyst for X amount of games with this team. What have you seen from that quarterback, or what have you seen from these players? And it's so different.
There's a little less certainty this year than usual, but as we just showed you, it's a 50-50 proposition any other year anyway. Who is next? Lewis, what is your question for McShay?
I mean, all right, fine. Here it is. Come on, McShay. I want to know why this. How in the world did you put? How did you have Dallas taking Patrick Surtain over Caleb Farley? Just tell me why you did that. Why didn't you like Caleb Farley better than Patrick Surtain?
It's a good question. I think Surtain is a more complete player. He's going to defend the run more. He's long. He's got all the tools. Obviously, he comes from a good background in terms of the NFL experience with his dad, 14 years in the league. Farley, let's put it this way. You're a DB guy. If I had to cover one wide receiver on one route, one time I would go with Farley. I think he's the man-to-man guy, but he is a buffet tackler. He picks and chooses, and he's not as physical. That's why.
That may literally be the first question that we have had about a defensive player in this draft in all the time that we've been talking about it, which should give you some indication of where everybody's priorities are.
Of course I was going to go that route,
Sanchez, what is your question for Todd McShay? Mark Sanchez.
Obviously, I'm going quarterback, but Foxborough, the New England Patriots, that place is like Fort Knox. You don't get a peep out of there, and all of a sudden we get everybody talking about, hey, Belichick's in love with Mac Jones. He's going to do everything he can to get him in this draft. Todd, tell me the truth. What's going on? Is this real, or is this just propaganda?
I've heard the same thing, and I don't trust it at all. Everything that I hear about New England and everything I hear from people in and around the Patriots, the Patriots situation, I never trust. It's always the opposite. I think they're going to wind up going with a veteran. I think that he's going to wind up keeping that pick at 15 and trying to continue to build the defense probably and bring in a special player on that side of the ball. It won't surprise me at all if they just stand pat, let all 5 of these quarterbacks go ahead of them and say, yeah, we're good. We'll just bring in one of these veterans. Jimmy Garoppolo makes a lot of sense because of everything that happened before, and basically the reason that they got the breakup between Belichick and Brady. But who knows? We'll have to wait and see. But I do not think they're going to wind up moving up, and I don't think the Patriots are going to wind up drafting a quarterback.
Okay, fair enough. We will see how all that plays out. Again, the entire mock draft is available on ESPN+. Quickly, I have some news that has just come in from Adam Schefter's Twitter feed, and it's not a surprise, but the Washington football team has released Alex Smith, who was this year's choice for the NFL's Comeback Player of the Year, overwhelmingly so. He has been released. They save almost $15 million in cap space. So in an offseason where Deshaun Watson might be available, Dak Prescott might be available, Russell Wilson might be available. Lewis, how interested do you think teams will be in Alex Smith as he becomes available now?
Look, I think Alex is a tremendous mentor. I think Alex would be a tremendous bridge quarterback at this point in time. Obviously, people are going to really try and connect the dots between him and Chicago, given his familiarity with Matt Nagy and that system that they run in Chicago like it was in Kansas City. I don't think that's the option that they're looking for. But look, I have nothing but infinite respect for Alex Smith, and any team would be better served having him in their quarterback room for sure.
I think everybody feels that way. Graziano, again, Sanchez has his hand up again. Go ahead, Mark.
What about Jacksonville? Urban Meyer, he can help Trevor Lawrence, help Trevor Lawrence's transition. He played for Urban Meyer. I don't know. I just thought about that.
He did. It's good. He did. He played for him at Utah and was the number 1 pick in the draft.
That's a great point, Mark.
How about that? Graziano, what should we expect here, real quick?
Yeah, I think he'll be of interest, like Lewis says, a bridge guy. Look, let's say San Francisco does decide to trade Jimmy Garoppolo and draft a quarterback. Then Alex Smith maybe goes back to where it all began. Let's say he's the option in New England.